Hey everybody, it's your friend Sarmate here, and we're back with a new series of Settlement Survival. I hope you're having a fantastic and amazing day today. I'm really excited about getting back into Settlement Survival a little bit here. We've been doing it on our streams on Monday, but I wanted to do a couple more video series for you guys because I'm excited about it. You guys have been asking me for it. I wanted to get back into it. So I got this set up, ready to roll here. We have the standard mode. Golden Prairie is going to be our town name. Stressful structures are on. I did do a preset difficulty of extreme, but I turned disasters off because they drive me nuts. So it changed it to custom. I also changed a few other things. Initial materials, we're going to go scarce. Population's 20, no cubs. Temperature standard. Starting seeds, we got 1. Lifespan, random events, and resource output are going to all be default. Initial health and happiness is going to be lowest, and the tech experience output is 80%. In our map, we're going to do a random map. Map size is medium. Vegetation is default. Wild animals default. Lakes 1, medium-sized lake. Fewer mountains or density default. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here we are picking our starting spot here. So what a couple things that I want to be aware of here. We're going to want some trees, which there's plenty of trees around. We want to get into some rocks and some iron. So that's what we got here. The dark rocks are iron. The gray ones are stone. We want to have a little bit of both. The other icons, you can see at the very bottom of the screen which ones are which, what they all relate to. Let's just zoom out a little bit here and see what our land looks like. Not the greatest map. I've seen better, but I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna work like right in here. I think so. These little guys here, these are hunting points. We should be able to see some cubs here too, or at least a gathering of critters. And there's some right there. These are bison right here, and then we have alpaca. So both really important animals to get. So I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna start about right in here. If you're wondering, the blue circle on the outside is where we were able to build some houses. Okay, and then we're here, Golden Prairie, beginning is, and we have no houses to start with. We have a little bit of people. We got 11 laborers, and we don't have anything else. We have a handful of materials, so that's good to go. So what we want to do, I haven't started a new settlement survival game in a long time, but I do know that we want to have some roads to start with. We're going to go ahead and we're going to bring our roads up over in here. And we're going to get some houses and other things started. Now, we have 15 people, and these houses can hold up to 4 people. That doesn't mean that they will hold 4, but they can be up to 4. So we want to have about 6 houses, or we can do an interim housing. This used to be called an apartment if you haven't been to Settlement Survival for a while here. So that's what that is. But I think what I want to do is we're going to go ahead and get a handful of these houses started. I think I'll go with the 6. And we'll just do a couple 2x2s here. So we got 4, and then we'll get another one on the way right here, like that. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Let's go with a couple more, because then we will be at 14. And then we should be pretty close with this, because we have 5 kids. That should be good. Should work out pretty well. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab our dirt roads, and we're going to fill this guy in like so, like here, like that. Okay, houses, check. Now we need to get some other things figured out here. So that's namely going to be the services. So church is going to be happiness. Clinic is going to be health. Repair shop is going to be the health of your buildings, kind of. Buildings cabin, which we have one already. There's one right there. You can see this little trick that I do. It's pretty obvious right now, but you can kind of like flash this. You can find what building you're looking for. So there's a building cabinet. It lights up and unlights. Yeah, it changes. It flickers. So there it is. Town hall. We don't have that yet. And school, we don't have that yet. So school, I'm not super concerned about at this moment, but I do want to get the church started up. So we're going to go right across the road. We'll get our church going. We need our clinic going. And we will need a repair shop, but we don't need it like instantly. But we do want to get our town hall going pretty quickly here. So we're going to get this guy about right there as well. Okay, so that's the main things that we have right now that we can deal with for what the citizens need, with the exception of food and water type of stuff. So we have wells and we have big wells, and we also have hunter's hut for food and gatherer's hut. So I want to get water coming in right away. So we're going to go ahead and we'll grab our well, pop that right there. Now we might be a little bit getting close on the not having any more resources. So what I think we're going to do is I'm going to start the game up here. I'm also going to do this. I'm going to gather all. So we have an abundance of things around us, right? So I like to do this at the beginning of the game. Just do that. What's going to happen is it's January. It's 26 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's cool. I mean, I would wear a jacket for sure at 26. But they're not going to freeze to death is what I'm getting at. So the people are going to go out. They're going to gather some stuff. They're going to build some stuff. We should have people assigned as builders. We do. and that's going to be the way that we maintain our resources for a time. It's gonna take a minute for us to be able to get on our feet and have the resources production going on that we need to sustain ourselves. So okay, but on that topic, we're gonna need some hunters' huts. That's gonna be a food situation. So I think we've got our first house built up. I think we're gonna go over here. We'll go right next to the town hall and get this hunter's hut on the way. That's gonna take 3 people to get started and get operating properly. So we'll get that going. Let's go ahead and okay, so we have a tailor, the chopping house, and a smithy, and a distillery. So we got clothing, we have, this is going to be residential fuels, and we have a smithy for some tools, and then distillery is going to give us some liquors. It's going to be spirits off of agave, which we start with. So we want to have a chopping house because by the time next winter comes along, we want to have a little bit of residential heat ready to go. So we'll get that going as well. And we just got to kind of let our peeps do their thing here. Gonna gather up some stuff. Gonna gather these things around here. We're gonna do some building. Okay, well, you'll watch as the little house icons disappear over our people's heads as these houses get built and ready to be moved in. We're currently at 8 people. Now there's 4 people, so we have plenty of houses. We got a little bit of room for growth. That's good. I mean, not like right on the cap there. So we'll go ahead and we'll get that little guy set up there. Get that road out of there. I don't want that there. But we will only have 11 people. Another important thing for the town hall here is this is how you get immigrants, and immigrants will be a huge part of this game until like pretty late game, until your birth rate is high enough to where your people are able to sustain all of the deaths, overcome the deaths really, and do that with the birth rate. So that will happen eventually, but we really need the immigrants for a while to sustain ourselves, because people are going to get sick, they're going to get freeze to death. It's not going to be great. But it's stuff that happens, so we got to be prepared for it. So 3 hunters aren't going to really be enough to sustain our population, really. So we got to think about doing some farms. Farms are going to be also another huge part of this game. So what I kind of want to do, so since we have our houses here, we also have to build our houses within this circle. I kind of want to work our way down in this direction and kind of build our houses like maybe like up to here. And we'll kind of close this in with all houses. And then maybe over on this side of the world, we'll kind of bring our road. We'll have to go down a little bit, but we'll do some farms over here. And then these are going to be great for mines right in here, those mountains. So we'll go ahead and we'll bring a little bit down here. You know what? Let's kind of just square this up, and then we'll go along here. That'll be perfect. We have plenty of room for our mines up here. We do have a tech point. So let's see what we got here. Okay. We do have 6 tech points. That's a lot. Okay, before we get into that, I want to make sure that we have a much more of the stuff marked for gathering, so that we can continue to have resources, because we are going to be using these things up like crazy. I got to get some of those rocks. We'll get some trees. Okay, now tech points. 6 tech points is a lot. So what I've gone through a lot of different things on what I thought was a good thing to start with or what I want to do, but I think what we'll start with here, since trade is such a huge part of this game now, I think we're going to start with insurance. It might be a little bit early, but I do want to at least have that one thought about. So maybe insurance. Maybe we want... Okay, so mining, I was just talking about that. We will get the mines, get those started. I think that would be good. So that's 2 things. Material recycling is good. That's going to allow us, when we destroy buildings, get some of our stuff back, our materials back. But what's really, really important, and since we have 6 tech points, which it seems like that seems really high, I wonder if they changed that on me. This is incredibly important right here. This farming efficiency tech. So what that's going to do is double our sowing and harvesting speed. So that's 3 points. So we're up to 5 already. I'm gonna do this right now. So we have this squared away. We're good to go with that. And now we know we have 3 more points. So let's go ahead and see what else we can get into. Warehouse. We want to have a warehouse for storage. That would be good. I'm so partial to the transfer stations too. You guys will see that later for sure. Let's go warehouse. Okay, and then we can't do anything with the soap without fats, and that's going to require us to have a cub and a pasture. That's what it's called. And we'll get that. Oh, these other 2 points is what we're gonna do. Medicinal research and skin disease. So when you have immigrants that come in, they have a chance for diseases. And so this is how we counter that. Cholera and measles we can deal with. Okay, so that's what I'm going to pick for my most important things to start with as of version 0.84. Skin disease and medical research and your agriculture, farming efficiency pieces. That's what I think are like the most important things right now. Okay, so you can see we got a couple other things good to go. Oh, and that stuff is just activated now. You can see at the bottom here, we have the orange dots above these different icons. That means you have a new item there. So we'll check those out in just a second. But I want to talk about what we got going on here now in the town. So our clinic and our church are built. They each have one worker in there. You can see we got a doctor and a cleric. Great. That's exactly what we wanted. Our town hall will be built shortly. It's at 70%. It's coming along great. So we're doing all right. It looks like our storage yard is getting quite full as well. 98% is pretty high for our storage yard. So let's get some other things on the way here. Our health is really low, but that's kind of to be expected. We started as low as we could be. So let's go ahead and we'll get fishing dock. We're pretty far away from. We might have to do a fishing dock. Okay, well, let's get this farm stuff started first. I really like the standard farms here. They're a fixed size. It's just easy. It makes sense. We have one seed, so it's probably of value to see what that one seed is before we go ahead and build a bucket load of farms. So let's see. It's going to be under the I collection pumpkins. Excellent. So it is a food. I wish it was corn because corn's amazing, but we'll go ahead and we'll do some standard fields and we'll get some corns or we'll get some pumpkins happening. We'll go ahead and we can start. I'm gonna start about right there because that's where that road kind of ends, and we'll get started with some pumpkin action here. There's 4. That should be plenty to start with, and then we'll kind of bring our road down here in anticipation for some fish action happening right there. Okay, and our warehouse is full. So what we can do is halt the gathering of these stuff and these things since our warehouse is full. So we'll do that. That's going to put our laborers back to the task of clearing and building the stuff over here for us. So warehouses are full. We're going to go ahead and speed this guy back up. And you can see they're going to run back from the fields. They're all coming in. Going to get this guy finished up. Going to get our farms working. And I'd like to have 3 workers on the farm. So right now that would put us at -1 laborers. So I'm not going to totally fill this up yet, but we want to have them built. We want to have them ready to go so that we're ready to go. We also have our big well complete. So we'll go ahead. We have 2 people working in there. We're going to keep our eyes on that water. I would rather have a ton of extra water right now than not enough. So we're going to get that going. I'm going to put a storage yard in there. It doesn't cost anything. We do have small warehouses and warehouses. I do want to use them, but for now I'm just going to use that storage space because we just need it immediately here, so we don't have to build anything. It just kind of appears. So, oh, look at this. We have deer right here, right by us, turkeys. We got all sorts of critters. That's awesome. So once this hunter's hut gets going, we're going to have, hopefully, a lot of cubs coming in. And it looks like we have yet another tech point. It's very surprising to me how quickly that's going. Let's see what we can get into. The plantations are good. But I'm not going to grab that because I have to talk about something else later that we're going to need to get into instead of the plantations. So logistics, we got the warehouse. We wanted to do trades. Let's go insurance because I'm going to get some insurance, or I'm going to get some trades going here pretty darn quickly because I like to do this thing where I'll buy kittens and then I sell those kittens for a little bit of profit. So I'll show you that once we get to it. But domestic fuel. So here we are. So this is a new UI. I don't know exactly when it came in, but since last time we talked on a series, we have the option. So domestic fuel, and these are the 2 recipes that will make domestic fuel. So we have timber and we have poop. So this will take either or. Where previously you had to have, if you like, for example, if you wanted one to have poop and one to have timber, you would have to have 2 separate ones. So now we have one or the other, and it's just a little bit nicer, a little bit better. Okay, we're down to 5 laborers. Now there is advantage to having some people not assigned to a job. The laborers help move things around. So like right now it's kind of a bad example because it's October, but once harvest season is happening and there's goods to get, they'll pick stuff up and move it around and bring them into the warehouse so that the farmers don't have to do all that by themselves. So we'll get that pumpkin ready for next year. I turned all that off, get that guy going. And then once these 2 are done, I'm gonna turn those off as well. I might assign, okay, we're down to 4 people, so it might just keep it as is. We'll see what we're looking like for our food situation here. Okay, we only have, okay, well, we'll do this. We'll get some hunter's huts going. And something else that I want to get into before it gets any later, really, is the pastures for our cubs that we will have eventually. Because what happens is if they find the cub and you don't have anything to capture them with, really, put them in a pasture, they hang around for a little while, but then they're gone. And that's that. You have to find them again. So I want to be ready for it. So we're gonna build our houses down over in here, which is kind of wasted this pasture space, this buffs pastures. But we could go north with our houses, do them over here on this side instead, and kind of work pastures. That would make more sense. Let's do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and build a road down from this little spot, and we'll go like that. We do want to have fish in here, remember? So we'll go ahead and we'll get our pasture set up, and then we'll get our fish going. I do like to go 7x7. It is the smallest pasture size that we have available. Why? Just because that's kind of what I've always done. And I haven't really figured out like the best method. Like what's the perfect size? I don't know that. I just like 7x7. It works for me. That's what I do. I'm not super into the like min-max figure out like the perfect amount of size to worker ratio to yada yada yada. I'm not very good at that. I feel like that's a lot of math, and if you watch me like pretty much for any amount of time, you know that I'm terrible bad at math. So we're gonna try and avoid that as much as possible. We do have 2 more people over here on this standard farm, so again we are going to turn that off. So we have 2 free laborers right now. We are in agreement with food. That's good. This pasture is ready to roll. We don't have anybody available. So it's ready to go though, so we can take somebody out of here, and we'll do the same thing with these guys. I kind of want a repair shop. I think that would be good. We didn't include one. I don't see one. So let's go ahead. We'll go into our services. We'll get our repair shop going. Let's got a road coming up here. That'll be about right there. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll drag our dirt road up right there. Sweet. And we'll bring this one up over as whoa. How about right there? Okay. That's good. We're kind of starting to move this direction. We're doing great in this direction, so we're getting places. And these guys are ready to go. Awesome. So that's prepped. We're ready for whatever critters come our way. Our fish stock will be done soon. It looks like we're doing pretty great on storage stuff. We have a good amount of iron ore and timber, which is really, really important stuff to have. Our rocks are a little bit low right now. So we can see if we can... There's some right there. So let's mark these for gathering. We'll get those picked up. Looks like the repair shop is nearly complete. That was very quick. And it should be... Oh, we need some planks for the fishing dock. Okay, so I overlooked that. So that means we're going to need a sawmill. But luckily, we do have a point. So, construction, sawmill, boom. We're going to grab that. So we'll get the sawmill. And then that is going to allow us to build those planks for just timber. We have the option of doing a sawmill on the ground or a water sawmill. I just do the regular old sawmill because the water in this game, these banks, is really particular, and you don't really need to crowd it up with water sawmills, in my opinion. So I don't. You're gonna need reservoirs eventually. So like this whole line is probably gonna be reservoirs. It's gonna be sand pits gathering sand and clay. So there's gonna be a lot that goes on with all that stuff. But I think our sawmill will work pretty good right there. Okay. Now, we got our people working on the fields. Look at that. They're growing some pumpkins for us. We have 3 extra workers. So we're looking all right. Goose was found by a hunter. Okay, so now, remember when we clicked on this and there was nobody here? Now there's geese. So we'll go ahead and we'll get a worker there, Francis. And we'll see these little geese that'll show up right here. And so the geese are going to produce for us meat, feathers, and poops. So feathers are going to be used down the line. We can use them for clothing. You can use them for bedding. But we want the meat right now. That's what I care about. For a little bit of, food action. So that was found by the hunter's hut. And these hunter's huts are really great. Unlike most of the buildings in this game, these guys don't seem to have a restricted area of influence where they can't, they can go all the way over here, assuming that they have a pathway. So if you don't have a bridge here, they can't get over here. But if you put a bridge in, it'll work. So if you have one hunter's hut and you're like, why the heck aren't I getting any critters? Make sure that you have your bridges over your river to get to those critters because they don't wade through the water. That's the deal with that. Okay, this guy's ready to go, the sawmill. Let's go ahead and we're gonna go planks. Now, if you may have noticed that this sawmill, when I was up here, it has domestic fuel in it. So this chopping house has an upgrade now. We can upgrade this chopping house to a sawmill, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I want to make sure that we had our our stuff going okay before we start doing that kind of thing. Right now our food isn't great, so let's go over here. There's these different tabs. Production overview. We're gonna go food. You can see how close you are from being in the green. You want to be in the green. You're in the red, especially with food. It's not good. You're gonna start dying. People are gonna start starving to death. It's not gonna be great. So, for example, here's our beverages. That's our water. Doing great. So we want to get our food figured out. So we will get a little bit more from the geese. We will start to get some planks for the fishing dock. But in the meantime, we could see now it's May now, so it's getting kind of late to start planting. What we could do is gather some plants around. There's a little bit of plants around. You can see these little guys right here. That's what that is. So you can get and gather that up. There's wild veggies, there's agave, there's reeds, there's all sorts of things that they can gather up. So we'll get those for a supplemental food source. And this is going to repeat for like the first several years here. We're going to be chopping down trees. We're going to be gathering the rocks around. We're going to be gathering our plants. Just all this supplemental stuff to keep us going and get us on our feet. And it'll be great. And sometimes the game even helps us out with an event, which is usually pretty extremely well timed. It's pretty great. So it looks like we need a couple more houses. So that's great. That means people are growing up. So let's go ahead and we'll get a couple more houses laid in here. Like I said, we're going to move up in this direction with our houses. I kind of did that a little wonky, but it'll be fine. Doesn't really matter how the houses are oriented. But we'll go like that. And I left the gap here because I like this 2x2 look that these like this. But I kind of messed it up because I wanted these back to back. But it's fine. It'll be okay. We could continue that look up this way as we go along. But we are kind of running out of space. So that's the beginnings of that. We had a little bit of food coming in. We have one laborer. We don't have anybody on our timeline as far as the immigrants goes. We need to get 50 population before we can have somebody appointed to the town hall. So we got to get that happening. You can see some meat pops coming up over some people's heads here. That means that they're hungry. They will go to their house. They'll eat. They'll be good to go. You can see that that's gone now. So we're kind of borderline, it looks like, with our food. You can see this will jump up and then it drops again. So we're going to continue to gather some plants up and around here. They can't eat the reeds. I mentioned that they can gather those, but they can't eat them. So that's something to keep in mind here. Herbs are another thing that you'll find around the town. That's for health stuff. Super important. Spirits, we got to be careful. We're going to run out of spirits eventually here. So we need to find, there's a couple of really important things that we need to find here sooner than later. We want to get that agave in for spirits, because if we don't have spirits coming in, we're going to take a hit on our happiness. It's pretty significant. We want to get, it's not super critical like immediately, but we do want to find some herb seeds. And you do that with this guy right here, the herb knowledge. This helps us find herb seeds when collecting herbs. So we want to get down here to the nursery so we can make the herb knowledge, make them, plant them, grow them ourselves. It's great. And then rough clothing is getting low. Stone tools are, keep our eyes on our rough tools and our rough clothing. Two important things that we didn't build anything for yet. So what I think we should do is we'll go ahead and let's get those things started and built, but we don't have the people to operate them yet. And we really don't have the resources to really operate them yet either. So what we're going to do is just get that started up. I think we'll kind of work our way. Well, so we can do houses in there, right? So I'm hesitant with where I'm putting stuff because we can only build the houses within this circle, but you can build everything else outside. So I don't want to take up the space in here too much more. We wasted a little bit with the farm and with this guy, but we don't have to do that. So the industry stuff, I think we'll go, well, I want to do farming over here, so we'll do that. Maybe we'll go over here and kind of fill this area in with more industry type things, such as the blacksmith and our tailor. Well, this is a nice mountain for a mine there, so we're going to leave a little bit of space for that. I think we can even like mark it out. So you can put these things down, but not like put anything there. We can pause the building, so that's what we're going to do. I swear that we didn't grab the mines, but we can do that now. We can grab mine. But there's something that I'm kind of thinking about doing before that. So soap is for health. You can get the soap and you can make So from fats, and you get fats, and they changed this now with our pastures. So goose isn't a good example, but the bison, they will give you fats. Before you had to have a butcher, and the butcher would process the meat, and that was how you would get fats. You don't have to worry about that anymore. They changed that. So we should be okay with once we get some bison or alpaca to make fats. So I'm gonna go ahead, thinking about getting soap. Maybe we just think, let's get the research institute started. So this is how we get more tech points. We'll get that guy going. I feel like that's a good one to start with here. But again, we'll work our way over here in a more industry oriented spot. So we'll go like that. Go ahead, and we got our tailor we want to get built up. So we'll get that started. We have a smithy we want to get started up. And then we do want a distillery as well. So over here is where we will be gathering agave for the distillery, but we can't do that quite yet. So we're going to hold off for just a little bit. We could bring a couple more houses down. Maybe I'll do that. But right next door to this guy, I'll go over here. I'll go a little bit further over here because I probably want to do a couple more pastures eventually here. We're good to go with our fishing dock. I'm going to back that off just for now. But you do have to select fish for your fishing dock. There's a couple things like that, like the dock, fishing dock. Like, what else am I going to get at the fishing dock other than fish that you have to assign? So don't forget to do that. It's a kind of important piece. I'm going to go ahead and gather some plants like we mentioned before. You got to be careful when you're doing this in the winter time, though, because if you go too far, if you go way over here, people are going to freeze because it's 17 degrees Fahrenheit. It's cold now. So you guys just be mindful of that. We can also like fell trees in here. I mean, we might as well just gather all here and get this stuff picked up for us. We can utilize it mainly to build this other stuff. But I think that's going to be a decent enough spot to stop on our first episode of season 7 of Settlement Survival. I'm really excited about it. I hope you are too. Have a fantastic and amazing rest of your evening, day, or night, and I will see you on the next episode.